Conversations with the Citizen. I'm your host, Tia Carol Jones. I'm here today with Roderick Drew, Associate Vice President of HNTB. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I grew up in Gary. I've lived in the Chicago area since the mid-90s. Done all sorts of work, including sports PR, healthcare PR. I worked for the city of Chicago for 14 years before I joined HNTB, working in the mayor's office, police department, law department, aviation, so a bunch of departments. And for the last almost 9 years, I've worked with HNTB on their program management team that is working with the Illinois Tollway.
Okay. I thought your name looked familiar, so now I know why.
Yes. Hopefully that's good.
No, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. So HNTB is a transportation and engineering firm. How is the firm overseeing the capital program on the Illinois Tollway?
Okay, so as you said, HNTB is a 100-plus-year-old infrastructure solutions firm headquartered in Kansas City, but we have a huge presence here in Chicago and Illinois. My company is the program manager for the Illinois Tollway. So we manage the Tollway has a 15-year, $14 billion capital program called the Move Illinois program. And my company is the lead firm that is the program manager. So we have a team of 10 or so companies that are managing all sorts of design and construction and program controls aspects of the capital program.
What are you personally doing to increase diversity, equity, and inclusion and best practices and increasing understanding of DEI among business leaders in Chicago and across the country?
Okay, so for my part, I work with the Tollway's Department of Diversity and Strategic Development. So they administer the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program for the Tollway. And that DBE program exists because we know there are proven historical disparities on the basis of race or gender and access to prime and subcontracting opportunities at the Tollway and in this Chicago and Northern Illinois region. So what the DBE program does, it seeks to kind of level the playing field, address those disparities, and attempt to provide new contracting opportunities for disadvantaged businesses and employment opportunities for people. So I can tell you about some of the programs that I work with them. So everything probably starts with their small business initiative. And that's where they they identify select contracts, construction contracts, generally with the values of $5 million or less, that only registered small businesses can work on. And they establish diversity goals on those contracts to ensure that disadvantaged businesses can participate. They also do a Partnering for Growth program, and this is a mentoring program that brings established firms and smaller firms together and provides that business coaching and mentoring that small businesses need to take their businesses to the next level. They have a technical assistance program that also provides mentoring and coaching and business development on things from estimating to contracting, back office work, and project delivery. And the Tollway also has workforce development programs that will help provide pre-apprenticeship training and support services so that people who are interested in the construction industry, in construction industry jobs, especially skilled labor, have an opportunity to take the test, study up, take the test, and get sponsored into a union and start a career.
Why is it important to have diversity in transportation? And why is it important to have equitable transportation in large cities like Chicago?
Oh boy, I thought about that project. So where do you begin? Diversity and equity is important in all sorts of ways. I know the tollway is really laser focused on ensuring that the companies and the people that are helping them work on their capital program reflect the diversity of the communities that they serve. We know that there are something like $50 billion in transit projects that will be going on in the Chicago area in the next 10, 15 years at the airport, CTA, IDOT, Metra, PACE, and then you've got your signature projects like the Presidential Center, you've got the 78, you've got casino projects, you've got Chicago Bears, you have all of that, and you need to make sure that you have diverse businesses who can participate at all levels and in meaningful roles, and then you need to make sure that you have the skilled labor force, especially skilled labor, to help deliver those projects. And in Chicago, we know the negative impact urban planning can have on a community, on communities of color. It cuts you off from the rest of the city. It prevents you from equal access to amenities like the lakefront. People have been relocated for road projects without a concern about how it impacts communities. So we want to prevent all of that. We want to be a regional partner. I know the tollway is a regional partner. I know that projects that my company works on, we are definitely into and aware of and want to be a part of that solution so that we're providing equal access, equitable access to residents. And again, we need to just ensure that we are doing that in a way that looks toward the future and provides that level playing field that everybody should operate on.
What is the future of transportation as far as Chicago and the state of Illinois are concerned?
Another good question. So, there are complex problems to solve and work through both at the city and state level. Fortunately, there are organizations like CMAP that are out there thinking far out into the future. When I began my career in public service, the CMAP plan for regional transportation was CMAP 2020 or something like that. Now, I just went to an event last night, and we'll be working with Aaron Ehlman, who's the executive director of CMAP. Now their plan is 2050, when I'll be 82. So things are moving, and they're really doing this work to kind of look at what we need to do, in the region. So you need to address equal access, and I think the city's doing that. CTA's doing that, making sure that their rail service runs to all parts of the city. You need to address congestion, commuter times in and out of Chicago. I know that's something that IDOT's looking at, the city's looking at. You've got all this new technology. How do we implement this new technology so that people have choices? You would love to wake up one day, pick up your cell phone, and decide how you're going to get from point A to point B. You could drive. You could take a bus that connects to a transit center. Those sorts of things. These are the types of things we need to look at. And then you need to look at electric vehicles. I know IDOT has plans to invest in building a charging system. I know that there are planning firms out there that are looking at things from putting electric coils in pavement so that as you drive on a stretch of a road that it would charge your car, your electric vehicle. Would that work here in Chicago with our snow and weather conditions? So those are things. And then you look at the CREATE program that is looking at this regional rail network and how do we untie and undo and make the transportation system more efficient, because you have Chicago is the transportation crossroads of America. You've got 1 out of every 4 U.S. freight trains pass through Chicago. You've got these rail yards. You've got these grade crossings. You've got all sorts of issues that you need to untangle so that we can make transit and moving people and goods more efficient. So those are all the things that you're looking at. And then, like I mentioned earlier, with all these big projects and where the bear's going to go, if they're going to stay local or go out of the city, you need to have a transportation solution that makes that as efficient as possible.
How will the capital program on the Illinois Tollway increase the Black workforce and improve economic prosperity?
So it does it in two ways. So you've got the workforce development portion that's helping individuals, and then you have the support for companies. So I didn't talk much about workforce development, but there are two programs that the Tollway administers to help with that. And one is an earned credit program, and that provides an incentive to construction firms that hire underrepresented populations. That could be women, veterans, African Americans, low-income people, and those incentives help firms. So it's a virtual bid credit. So for every hour that someone works on your program, an eligible person, you can earn virtual dollars, and that can help you as you are bidding on future tollway work. So at this point, we have over 50 firms that are enrolled in that program, and there are all of the large construction firms that work and deliver tollway projects, as well as smaller ones too. And then the Construction Works program is vitally important because it's providing that pre-apprenticeship training and support services. And pre-apprenticeship training, again, is to get you ready to take the math test or whatever you need to do to test into a union. Support services can be anywhere from helping to supplement child care, CTA, transit cards, things of that sort, or getting you into a place where if you don't have a GED or something like that, that they can help you get you to resources that can help you get that, to make you ready, again, to participate in the construction workforce. And through that Construction Works program, almost 400 people have been hired through that since 2018. So it's moving along. And then you have the kind of the next generation in terms of STEM initiatives and support. And I know my firm, many, if not all, of the professional services firms that work on tollway construction or tollway projects, they are involved in some sort of mentoring program, going to HBCUs to interview candidates, to work with, and again, to work with African American and minority construction firms and professional services firms, the Partnering for Growth program and that technical assistance program, to help giving that training and mentoring and helping them to become better businesses and to stabilize their businesses, especially as we expect some sort of downturn in the industry.
Where can people go to find out more about HNTB?
You can just go to our website, which is htb.com. It has information on projects that we've worked on, projects that we've delivered. HNTB is a infrastructure solutions program or a company. So they design and help build bridges. They've designed sports stadiums. They've designed runways. They've designed big tunnel projects, terminals, all sorts of things. So they are well positioned in America with about 5,000 individuals. So there are job positions open all over the country, including in Chicago. So go to the website, you can see any of that information.
Great. Before we wrap up, what else would you like our audience to know?
I think I would like for you to know that transportation is a wonderful industry. And Chicago, if you're in Chicago, you're living in the transportation crossroads of America, with the airports, with our road network, rail, everything. So when I used to work at the airport, I would just look outside and just see just the city onto itself, and just marvel at how goods and people are moving and how rapidly and how efficient it is. Sometimes you just got to stop and and just admire where we are and what we have, and the fact that we can go to O'Hare or Midway or get on a bus or go to a train station and be just about anywhere in the world. And it's incredible. And we live in a wonderful area, so I love that.
Great.
Can you give your website address one more time?
Sure, HNTB.com.
Great. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me anytime.
Remember to make plans to join us again next week for Conversations with the Citizen.